is Mackenzie. Welcome back to my channel, and look at my big stack of books. It's so heavy. It's so heavy. These are all the books that I read in August of 2022. You guys, oh my god. Ouch. Okay. Ah! The pile. All throughout, like, the middle of this year, I have been upset because I haven't really been having the best reading month in the sense of numbers, I guess. Because I've read quite a few 5-star books this year, quite a few 4-star books, minimal 3 and 2 stars. But I will say that I do have more 2 stars this year than I did last year. So that is kind of depressing. That, coupled with the fact that I want to keep adding books to my TBR, however, I am not reading at the rate that I am adding books to my TBR, so I'm never at like a good ratio anymore, and it bothers me. But this month is quite the exception. I know I read about 4,000 pages, about 26 books, I think, if you count all of the short stories as individual stories. So, as always, we're going to talk about all of the books that I read in this month in the order that I finished them. Since a few of these books I have done either reading vlogs or like original versus retelling other videos where I talked more in depth about these books, I won't be speaking about all of them, but I will let you know in the order in which I finished them, so that way you will know that information, and also I will link up the video in the cards up above so you can watch those as well if you haven't already. Let's get started. The first book that I read and finished in the month of August is The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. This book was written in 1896. So it is racist and sexist AF. I don't necessarily feel like this is something like a classic that you have to read to like get enjoyment of future books written in the same genre, similarly to Dune. This is much more problematic than the conversations that it brings up. I do think that it is an interesting conversation, this idea that humanity and being human itself is tragic, and how if on top of that you layer religion, it becomes so much more tragic because everything that makes you human is a sin. But I don't think necessarily everything else outweighs that, especially considering that The Daughter of Dr. Moreau exists by Silvia Moreno Garcia. So I read both of these books for it was like kind of like a dual video. It was reading my favorite author, which is Silvia Moreno Garcia, but also original versus retelling. I gave this 2 stars and I gave this 5 stars. I felt like this totally breached the 5-star range by being able to completely envelop all of the conversations that I thought were important in this novel, while also modernizing it and bringing up more of a historical background that really sets the stage for it. Next, I read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which I gave 4 stars, and I read it in the video where I compared this original to this retelling, One by One by Ruth Ware, which I ended up giving a 3-star. This is one of the few Ruth Wares that I've been disappointed in and have not enjoyed. This one and The Lying Game out of all of the ones that I've read. I go into more detail in that video, so I will link it up above in the cards for you guys. In between finishing And Then There Were None and One by One, I also read A Perilous Undertaking by Deanna Rayburn. This is the second in the Veronica Speedwell series, so this is just a couple months after the original novel, the first book, ends. We're still following our main characters, Veronica and Stoker, in London in 1886, I believe? 1887. It's amazing, it's wonderful, it's lovely. I also did a video for this where I just gushed forever about book 1 and book 2. I will link that up in the cards for you. I did give this a 4-star, mainly because I'm waiting to see how everything's going to turn out. Long series are only, like, I couldn't conceivably give this a 5-star because the ending has not happened yet. I haven't read the ending. So I am slowly slowly reading through, double reading these series because I read this in between and then there were none and one by one, and then I also read it again later on in the month. And I gave it 4 stars both times, 4.5 if you want to be particular. But I need to see what the ending is going to be before I can retroactively go back and give all of them a 5-star because they're so perfect. And then I read one of my highly anticipated releases, A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Lynn, and I gave it a 3-star, okay? It's a debut novel, and I think that the writing definitely shows that. I loved the plot, the actual details of what was happening. I loved the tone and how cozy the magic felt. And I also really enjoyed the characters and their background and their motivations and where they were, the betrayals that happened. I felt those, and I really enjoyed the ending when we were getting to the climax. What I couldn't fathom was that while this was amazing, as I'm telling it to my husband what's going on, and I'm going back to read it and I'm bored. It has never happened to me before where I am hyping myself up talking to him about the plot points of this book, and then I come back to read it and I want to stop almost immediately. It was so boring. The writing was boring. It had to be the writing. It was just boring because, like, this idea that our main character, Ning, is basically going undercover into this competition to start working as a Shinongshi, I believe. Forgive me if I am mispronouncing it. It's like a really like competitive thing, and it's like really dangerous, and it's super interesting, and she's doing it all because her sister is sick back home, and she's trying to win a boon from the princess so that way she can help her sister live. And then she gets caught up in all of this political machinations of like secrets and spies, and it's so interesting, and the way that the tea magic is described is interesting, but like I was so bored, and I could not give it more than a 3-star. I really hope that the second in this duology is written just a bit better or something. I don't know, edited a bit more, because it really did feel like the beginning of this wasn't edited very well, or something. There was something that wasn't clicking for me, and I can't put my finger on it. But then I followed that up with Hyde by Kiersten White, and I gave this a 4-star. Oh, goodness, this was great. It was really great. It was actually spectacular. So it was kind of like Cabin in the Woods meets Get Out, but also a monster flick. Like, it was so good. It was so good. I really enjoyed the characters. I loved how the writing seamlessly switched between perspectives of characters, and you really understood their motivations, and they were really understandable without being an archetype. I really, really enjoyed it. And then the author's note was just the cherry on top of all of it. So in this one, we are following Mac. Her name is Mackenzie. Thank you. Yes, that is my name. Also, it was kind of stressful. But we are following Mackenzie, who is homeless and finds an opportunity to play in this reality television show where all she has to do is hide. And if she lasts the longest, then she'll get a bunch of money. And she needs that money because she's homeless, but also she's like, this is perfect because my father murdered my whole family, and I hid very well. And so this will be exactly the same. And like, the way that everything gets tied up together, I'm just astounded. And like, if you don't like scary, monster, horrific movies, you're not gonna like this. But this was amazing. It was just everything to me, and I can absolutely seeing myself reading this like every Halloween. I'll probably read it again in October because it was just that good. Next, I started a new manga series. It's called Wotakoi? Wotako. I'm pretty sure it's Wotako. Love is Hard for Otaku. This is volume 1, written by Fujita. This includes volumes 1 and 2 of the Japanese edition. So Technically this is 2, but I'm counting it as 1 because when you go into Goodreads, you can find this version as a singular book. It's so cute, and I think the title kind of just gives it away exactly what it is. So we have Narumi, and we also have Hirotaka. Narumi and Hirotaka, and they both go to work together. They both work together in like a similar department or departments next to each other. I don't understand their work environment. I don't understand Japanese work environments. They try very hard to explain it to me. I'm just culturally stupid. But basically they were also in school together. And so he knows that she's like a nerdy gamer girl, but like she doesn't really want anybody else to know because like in Japan it's seen as like super lazy and like inappropriate to be very nerdy and into video games and stuff like that. So, which is so crazy to me because that's all I care about. But it's really cute and it's really sweet because he's super socially awkward and she's kind of not, but like they're just so cute. They're just so cute. So it's them two. And then we also follow these other characters, these two, and they're also a couple. And they are angry all the time, and I love them. It's just so good. And it's so well drawn, I feel like. I think they're so cute. It's not traditionally exactly the type of style that I like, because they give them really, like, severe looking expressions. It wasn't the typical type that I enjoy, but I still really like it, and it's so cute, and it's just slice of life, simple gamer couple relationships. Adorable. Love it. Then I read Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones, which is the companion to Howl's Moving Castle. It's the second in the 3-book series. Oh, I gave this a 4-star. Also, this one I gave a 4-star as well, a low 4-star, and I want to be very clear, like, I did not enjoy this until the ending when everything sort of kind of made sense. This whole novel follows Abdullah, who, like, yeah, he leads a humble life, and, like, his dad's new wife's family picks on him, but he's so meek and just a irritating little man, and, like, I don't really care for him at all. The woman he's in love with, Flower in the Night, is like a bad bitch, and I love her. And then at the end, we kind of get the tie-in to Howl and Calcifer and Sophie, and that's really cool. And I think that the adventure that Abdullah goes on is really cool. I just don't really like him as a character, which for me as a character-driven reader, it was very difficult to get through, but I felt like everything else about it and the way it ties in together was really magical, and it continued on in this very like magical world that Jones has created. And so I did enjoy it, and upon reflecting on it, I do think of it much more fondly than I did when I read it. And then I read a series of short stories by Edgar Allan Poe, which I will talk about all together because I read them interspersed between other novels. So I'll talk about them all together towards the end when I talk about his Hideous Heart. But first, I finished The Dawn of Yangchen by FC Yee. So FC Yee wrote the other books in this series, the 2 books Kyoshi. It was The Rise of Kyoshi and then The Shadow of Kyoshi, and now he's writing The Dawn of Yangchen. So these books follow Avatar, The Last Airbender, the television show, where that show was following Aang, the Avatar, and then subsequently Korra, the Avatar. Kyoshi is 2 avatars before Aang, and Yangchen is 2 avatars before Kyoshi. So it goes Yangchen, then Karuk, then Kyoshi, then Roku, then Aang, and then Korra. And, like, I love this one. And I have this theory that the series of books is going to go Kyoshi, Yangchen, and then Karuk, because the story is kind of revolving around Karuk. So in Kyoshi, we were focused on Kyoshi and her world after Karuk, who was a hands-off avatar. and she didn't know she was going to be the Avatar, and then she was, and yada yada yada. And then Yangchen comes to Kyoshi and says Karuk seems to be a hands-off Avatar because he was so focused on the spiritual realm, fixing what I did not in my timeline. How Yangchen was so focused on the people of her time, on people of the world and the earth, that she did not give the care and the balance to the spiritual realm that the Avatar should. And so this book has that as its overall like theme, and then we're following Yangchen, who's already been the Avatar for a while, and as an airbender, an air nomad, you would think that she would be just a tad bit more spiritual, more reserved, more apart from the issues of the world, but she's not. She's so enveloped in the machinations of the world and how her citizens, the people of the planet, are just in danger, and there are people who are hurting, who are lost, who are starving, who are in war-torn villages, and she wants to help them. And it's sad. This is it's if the pattern is to be followed, we'll only have one more book of Yangchen, but I could truly have quite a couple more books of Yangchen. The machinations in the world are different than everything else, every other timeline that we've seen of the Avatar world. It still does seem like the Earth Kingdom is always like the bad guy. It seems like the Earth Kingdom has been the bad guy until the Fire Nation attacked.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
But I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the writing. The writing continues to be absolutely gorgeous and stunningly put together. But it doesn't take away from the tone, which perfectly fits it into the Avatar world without skipping a beat. So beautiful, so gorgeous, absolutely stunning, 4 stars. And then I picked up Wotakoi Love is Hard for Otaku, Volume 4. It does hold Volumes 3 and 4 of the Japanese edition, but this is Volume 2 of the American edition. This one is continuing the story of our 4 main characters. These 2 now get a front cover because I feel like this set of stories is really focusing on them and their relationship and how they got together. There's a lot of their past. And then there is also an edition of a new couple that we will be following, which is super cute. I totally thought it was going to be boy love for a second, and it wasn't. They played me, but you know what? It totally reminded me of Ouran High School Host Club, so I'm not even mad about it. That character reminds me of her. Look at her. She's so cute. I love her, and I really enjoyed this. It continues to just be like a slice of life, you know, expanding our otaku, like, idea and our characters enjoying hobbies of their significant other, and it's just super cute, and I love it, and I will just continue to read. I'll probably do a reread before I pick up more though. And then it was time to do my House of Usher mega vlog. That is already up. I will post it up there. In that vlog, I read What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher, which I gave 4 stars. I super enjoyed. I also read all of his Hideous Heart, which included short stories. I'll go through those ratings really quick. She Rode a Horse of Fire by Kendar Blake, 3 stars. It's Carnival by Tiffany D. Jackson, 4 stars. Night Tide by Tessa Gratton, 4 stars. The Glittering Death by Caleb Roerig, 4 stars. A Drop of Stolen Ink by Emily Lloyd Jones, 2 stars. Happy Days Sweetheart by Stephanie Kuhn, 5 stars. The Raven Remix by Amanda Lovelace, 4 stars. Changeling by Marique Nijkamp, 4 stars. The Oval Filter by Lamar Giles, 5 stars. Red by Hilary Monahan, 3 stars. Lygia by Dahlia Adler, 3 stars. The Fall of the Bank of Usher by Fran Wild, 3 stars. And The Murders in the Rue Apertea Borake by Rin Chapeko, 2 stars. Overall, giving this a 3 stars. And then I also read 11 short stories and 2 poems of Edgar Allan Poe's Complete Tales and Poems with selected essays. So obviously I read the original Fall of the House of Usher, which I gave 3 stars. I also read Murders in the Rue Morgue, 2 stars. The Oval Portrait, 3 stars. The Purloined Letter, 2 stars. Mask of the Red Death, 3 stars. Cask of Amontillado, 3 stars. Pit and the Pendulum, 4 stars. Telltale Heart, 4 stars. Ligia, 3 stars. And Metzengerstein, 2 stars. Hated that one. Also Hot Frog, which was a 4-star. And then for poems, I read The Raven, 3-star. And Annabel Lee, 4-star. Obviously, I read the originals to go along with this, and in my House of Usher mega vlog, I read the short stories from these ones and the full length of that one. And then after that mega vlog, I really wanted to get into In Deeper Waters by F.T. Lukens, and I DNF'd this at 89-ish pages. This cover is giving gay pirates. I'm sorry, it is. And then it's not gay pirates. One of them's a prince. I knew he was a prince. The other one is just a person. And then it's like, oh, the story's going to be about our prince learning that it sucks to be poor. And then the guy that I thought was a pirate is a mermaid? I DNF'd this. It couldn't decide what it was going to be. And I don't care. I don't care. Especially if this is only a solo book. Are you kidding me? I was 89 pages in and I still didn't know what was going to be happening. I was upset by it. So because I was upset by it, I finally picked up Lore Olympus Volume 2 because I was waiting for it to come back, and it was coming back very, very soon. So I decided to just reread this, and it was nice and it was lovely, and I gave it a 4 stars because it's beautiful and perfect, and I really enjoy the story, and it really made me appreciate the growth that Persephone did throughout the series. Like, even at the very beginning, and it's not even her trauma that forced her to grow. It was literally just growing up and experiencing the world and taking responsibility and trying to do your best and growing on your own. And I just so enjoyed that. So it was really lovely, and it was nice to go back in the story a little bit to a time when Hades and Persephone were at least in the same realm. But it was really nice. So I'm glad that I got to end my month with that. I am not going to be picking up those books again because they're very, very heavy. So that was my reading month. I super enjoyed it. I'm going to pop up another picture of the stats so you can see it one more time. Da 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 da. All right. Obviously, August, I think, was my biggest books read month, but I don't think that it was even my biggest pages read month. All that to say that numbers are meaningless, and I really enjoyed what I read this month, and that's all that matters. So tell me down in the comments any books that you enjoyed reading this month, books that you enjoyed, and books that surprised you. Hopefully no disappointments for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!